Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'll be answering one of the most frequently asked questions since I moved to Japan. How much does it cost to live in Japan? So before I start, if you're new here, I am Akonna, a Nigerian living and studying in Japan. I've been in Japan for more than 3 years, going on 4 years now. So if you have any questions about Japan, please leave them in the comment section. So guys, before I start, hit the subscribe button, yes, and like this video. So guys, before I start, I would like to say that this is not a financial advice. So cost of living is quite relative. There is no fixed price. It depends on where you're living most especially. So if you're living in Tokyo, you're most likely to spend twice or triple what I'm going to mention. But if you're living in Tohoku area like me, you're mostly going to relate to the prices I would mention. So this is not a fixed price, it's just an idea of what you're likely to spend. So let's start with the first one, house rent. I mean, that's like the basic. So for house rent, this depends on, one, are you willing to stay in the dormitory, or are you planning to stay outside the dormitory if you're going to come in as a student? So if you're going to be coming as a student, for student dormitories, the prices ranges from 15,000 yen to 50,000 yen, depending on if you're going for the single room, the married room, or the family room. So most of my analysis is based on a single person's expenses. For a single person in a smaller room, like in Japan, we have the 1K and the 1DK, basically for the single persons. So 1K means one room and kitchen, 1DK means one dining and kitchen. Of course, your bedroom is inclusive. So if you're coming into a dormitory where you have just the room, and then your kitchen and your toilet are outside the room, that means you have a shared kitchen and a shared toilet, you're most likely to pay less, maybe somewhere within 15,000 yen to 20,000 yen. But if you have a room where you have your kitchen and maybe the toilet is outside, or on the flip side, you have your room, your bedroom is inside, your toilet is inside, and then the kitchen is outside, you're likely to pay somewhere between 20 to 25,000 yen. So this all depends on what is in the room and maybe the location of the dormitory too. If your dormitory is very close to the university, you're likely to pay higher. If it's further away from the university, you're likely to pay lower. Yes, all the dormitories aren't situated in the university. Unlike in Nigeria, most of our dormitories are situated in each campus. You don't have a dormitory far away from the university. That's if it's owned by the university. But in these cases, you may have the dormitories in town. So if it's farther from the university, the amount is higher. Then, if you're going to live off campus, this is another ball game. If you're living closer to the campus, your prices will be very expensive. It can go from 30,000 yen to 60,000 yen in a very small space. While if you live farther away from the campus, you're likely to pay lower, maybe somewhere between 20,000 yen to 40,000 yen. So when I was in the school dormitory, I was using a couple room. I was paying roughly 33,000 yen monthly. 32,000 yen was the rent, then 1,000 yen maintenance fee. So I was paying this for a 1DK apartment. That's the bedroom, the dining, and the kitchen. It has a toilet. So when I moved off campus to where I currently live now, my apartment is 3DK. That's 3 bedrooms, dining, and kitchen. But I converted one room to a living room, so it's basically 2 bedrooms, 1 living room, 1 dining, and 1 kitchen. And I pay lesser than what I was paying in 1DK. Here I pay roughly 25,000 yen or less. And this is because this is a public housing, so the government determines the price, and also it's far away from school, so it also affects the price. So you can imagine, as I said, it's very relative, depends on various factors. So if you're using the dormitory, some things are to be considered. If you're living off campus, other things would be considered. And the next one will be electricity. I think this is basically one of the highest utility bills I pay in Japan. Electricity depends on season. Like now, we're in spring, almost getting into summer, even though the weather is very confusing. Today is very cold because it's been raining. So for electricity, I usually pay something between 8,000 yen to 12,000 yen during spring and summer. From autumn to winter, my bills skyrocket. I start paying from about 15,000 yen to 22,000 yen. Yes, it gets way up to 22,000 yen per month in some cases. So this is usually dependent on the season and how much you stay at home. So definitely, if you take so much breaks during winter, you're going to get a whole lot of bill. Like every January, I look forward to very huge bill because of the whole New Year and Christmas break. So I have maybe a whole week or maybe 10 days to spend at home before resumption. So my bill usually skyrockets during this period. So but for someone who is single, your bill may not get up to that point. So your bill might be somewhere between 8,000 yen to 10,000 yen. It all depends on your consumption. But if you want to save money, you can stay in the lab. Yes, people do it. People spend hours in the lab just to cut down on the cost of electricity when they go home. Some people even sleep over. So it depends on you. If you feel like you're spending too much on electricity, you can decide to go home, grab a bite, shower, and then go back to the university and sleep. Don't say I told you, but this is what people do. So the next one will be gas. Gas is also seasonal. The bill depends on the season. And also, if you make a lot of homemade meals. So in my case, I cook a whole lot. I cook a lot over the weekends. I cook for the week and then preserve them. So I use gas a lot. But I've never paid more than 2,200 yen. And mind you that this gas is also used to power the hot water in the bedroom. But I've never paid more than 2,200 yen. So I think gas is relatively cheap in Japan. And this is for me who uses the cooking gas a lot. So if you don't cook a lot, your gas bill might not even get up to 1,000 yen. Or maybe just within that range. But lately it's been increasing bit by bit because of inflation. But for now I haven't spent more than 2,200 yen. Then the next one is water. For water, this is very relative. And for some bills, you have your water included in the house rent. For some apartments, they are split. So in my own case, they are split. And for water, I usually pay 5,200 yen. So I think this is fixed. This is a fixed price for this apartment because that's usually the price. I've never really paid less than 5,100 or more than 5,200. Even if it's in winter or in summer or any time of the year, it's usually 5,200 yen. And when I was on the dormitory, I didn't pay more than 2,000 yen for water. So in this case, a lot of things is considered depending on the apartment. I think the water bill is calculated differently. So I think water is relative. Then the next one is internet. So for the internet, I use a broadband and I pay roughly 5,700 yen every month. This is basically fixed. Then I pay for the phone service. My phone service is usually around 3,600 yen. This includes voice and 15 gig data. So if you are going to be using a voice option and maybe lesser data, they have various data options, maybe the 3 gig, the 15 gig, the 100 gig. It depends on what you subscribe to. So the prices also reflect with regards to that. For some people, they give you the options of 5 minutes free, some people 10 minutes free, and then after 10 minutes, you're paying for every extra minute. For some people, you pay for every minute. And in Japan, this is quite different from Nigeria. In Japan here, we do postpaid. In Nigeria, we do prepaid. So we buy airtime and then we recharge our phones and pay before you make the call. But here, it's postpaid. Then the next one is transportation. So for transportation, I pay a fixed price. In this case, I'm using the student discount service. So if you're a student, this gives you the option to pay at discounted prices, and also the prices are different. So in my case, I'm using 2 train lines and bus service to school. So I'm paying 12,330 yen. So if you're using maybe just 1 train line, you're likely to be paying around 7,000 yen. If you're using 1 train line and the bus service, you're paying about 10,000 yen. So this depends on the lines or bus service you're using. So in my case, I'm using 2 train lines, 1 bus service, 12,330, and trust me, this is way cheaper than what I would normally spend, because on a daily basis, going to school from my apartment and coming back home to and fro should cost me nothing less than 1,000 yen. So if you check that Monday to Fridays times 4 weeks in a month, it's much more than that. So 12,330 yen makes a lot of sense to me. So for transportation, that's the cost of it. But also in Japan, a whole lot of people ride bicycles. So you can also try, if you have, like my campus is on the hill, so if you're living in an apartment that is downhill, you might maybe ride to an extent and then take the train to the university. Or you can decide to maybe leave your bicycle maybe closer to the university, then take a train to a particular stop and then ride to your laboratory. So it depends. Some people use bicycles to cut down on the cost of transportation, or maybe it's to just keep fit and all of that. But in winter, this is not usually very feasible, but some people still do it. Then another thing that I pay for mostly is health insurance. So for health insurance, in this case, it's strictly dependent on your income. So for students, our health insurance fees are usually, to me, I would say reasonable. So my health insurance usually goes from somewhere between 3,000 yen to 5,000 yen as a single person. But when you have a family, it increases, and also depending on your income. So I think this is very reasonable because it truly serves when you're ill and you need to pay and all that. So they pay 70% for you and you pay 30%. Then to this other bill should be food. For food, this is very relative. If you decide to do mostly homemade meals, you're likely to spend cheaper. If you decide to always eat out, you're most likely to spend higher. And also it depends if you're cooking homemade meals and you're somebody like me who is not very adventurous with food and decide to be cooking maybe strictly meals that are, you know, peculiar to your taste, maybe African food, rice, gari, and all that. Sourcing them here is quite expensive. So if you have to source for them, like in my case, I have to source and order from Tokyo, and then you pay shipping, and then there's exorbitant prices for the meals. So this is usually not very cheap for me. In my case, which now I'll be talking based on a family, I have a family of 4 here, so we spend roughly 50,000 yen every month on feeding. And this could be higher, this could be lower, but on the average, 50,000 yen. This including every other thing that comes with food and the rest of it. So anything that has to do with food and groceries, this is very relative, especially with food. It depends on you. If you decide to eat out, an average plate of food in Japan should be 400 to 600 yen on the average here in Tohoku region. So maybe in Tokyo it could be more expensive, usually well balanced in most cases. So this is the average cost for that. So it depends on you. If you cook a lot, you're going to save more. If you eat out a lot, you're probably going to save less. Then the next one would be other extras. So like gym, Netflix, happy hour. So if you try to do the gym membership, some people collect as low as 4,000 yen. Some people collect as high as 7,000 yen. It depends on the gym and probably every other option you pick. Then for Netflix, I use the subscription method. Monthly subscription is about 1,980 yen. So that's for that. And then your happy hour, I can say about that differs a whole lot. So if you party a lot, hang out with friends, most times you're going to spend a lot. All that depends on you. So guys, what do you think? How does this differ from your country? So one thing that is very remarkable and something that struck me when I came to Japan was the house rent. So here in Japan, the rent is paid monthly, but in Nigeria we pay yearly. So it's a cumulative of your rent, and you just pay at once in a year. But in Japan, you're paying every month. So this was quite shocking to me when I first arrived. But now I've gotten used to it, and I understand why it's done that way. I think it makes a lot of sense, especially with this student area where people are so unstable, they can move any time of the year. So I think it makes a lot of sense that people are able to pay monthly. It took me almost 6 to 7 months. Sometimes I'm like, okay, I'm budgeting for this. Oh, I want to spend money on this, and then I remember I've never paid rent for 6 months. I'm like, what? Why should I pay monthly? So guys, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a comment in the comment section and tell me what is different or what struck you amongst this. How is it expensive compared to your country? Is it lower? Is it higher? And what do you think generally about cost of living in Japan? Until the next video, see you. Bye.